So we're running a voucher project for the last 1.5 years, where we basically looked at 23 wards across East Delhi, Northeast Delhi, and identified about 1,800 children that applied for the voucher, of which we took half and we put them into low-cost private schools. We empaneled about 120 schools that agreed to work with us. So we've had a very successful project. Of course, we're going to take these children all the way from grade 1 up to grade 5. Let me try and give you the learnings across the various stakeholders. So if I were to broadly talk about the 4 stakeholders, being parents, children, teachers, and the school manager or the school owners, I'll just go one by one. If I look at the parents, I think the biggest learning has been that the awareness levels of RTE clause 12, which is 25% reservation, was virtually zero. There wasn't any. Very low now, about a year and a half later, but still the awareness levels are relatively low, where parents from economically weaker sections do not know about this specific clause in the Act that affects them gravely. The learning with regard to children has been interesting. We're a year and a half into the program now, and while we've seen progress in mathematics of actually almost 1 year advancement in our treatment children versus those who didn't get into schools using the voucher, in English and Hindi the results are inconclusive. That doesn't mean that they haven't improved, it just means that the data is not sensitive enough or not statistically significant enough to tell us whether they have improved. What that also suggests is, as a learning for us, is that actual learning outcomes with regard to subject based knowledge will take time. I believe the biggest challenge with regard to children has been more in the integration and the inclusion. What is a school? I need to wear a uniform to go to school, I need to be on time, I need to be disciplined. This took us almost 4 months to provide bridging for and to handhold parents and children. Third, with regard to teachers, the biggest learning has been that there is an initial sort of exclusion. Why should I integrate these children? I don't know how to deal with these children. These children are, difficult and bothersome for my classroom. They don't blend in very well. So I think there is an immediate segregation that takes place, which if not tackled early enough can be very damaging on the child. So that has been something we've worked on very closely with schools. And the fourth stakeholder being the school manager, I think it's all about transparency of reimbursement of funds. If a child is coming in free of cost and the government is going to reimburse that, I think the government has to be very clear in how the money is going to come, what is the quantum of funding, what is the periodicity at which funding will be given to the school, and so on and so forth, and they need to deliver. I think the fact that ARC has been able to do that very effectively, the program has worked. As far as RTE impacting our schools, all the schools we work with are recognized low-cost private schools. Of course, this is recognition sought prior to RTE. So now that the fact that they will have to go back and get recognition as per the norms laid out in RTE, I would say almost close to 80% of our schools will not qualify. I don't think they will meet the building norms, they will not meet the land requirements, they clearly will not meet the salary requirements of being able to pay teachers as per 6th pay commission. They don't have playgrounds. So multiple criteria as laid down in RTE will not be met by these schools. What is the stance by them? They are sort of playing a wait and watch policy. We'll see what RTE, how they clamp down on us. Their fear is that the level of bribery and corruption is what's going to go up. So the officer who's going to come and check in on them is the one that they may have to pay more money to say, yes, we comply. So I believe, while I think the intention is good, it's not practical. So, if you're going to have to shut down 4,000 or 5,000 schools in Delhi alone and displace 300,000 children, how practical is that? Do you have a solution to give them an alternative seat in school somewhere else?